Nelson,
Good gravy.
a radio host.
Found myself 2 million short of a millionaire.
Barely understandable.
Gee, Monetti.
We can rebuild him.
Guy's bright as a napkin.
We have the technology.
You gotta work with design, vision, and focus.
Better than he was before.
It's not lonely in my head.
Funnier.
I'm staring at a bowl of spaghetti trying to figure out which two ends come together.
More informative.
Characters defined by what you do once you screw up, not if you make mistakes along the way.
And just as sarcastic.
You sausage.
Oh, come on!
Give us 60 minutes and we'll give you Nelson Radio every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. on KTLK AM 1150. With 29 years in the mortgage business and an array of top-level guests visiting the show, Nelson is in a unique position to bring you cutting-edge information on real estate, business, finance, and law. If you have any questions for Nelson or any of his guests, give him a call at 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136. Or check him out online at nelsonradio.com.
Nelson Radio.
KTLK AM 1150. Awesome to be back together with law veteran Mike Fell from the law office of Micheal L. Fell. Thanks for being here.
Well, absolutely, absolutely. I'm really excited about our next guest. We have Stephen Thomas. I was more excited because I thought our guest was going to be Stephen Tyler, but it's not Stephen Tyler, it's Stephen Thomas. But he's going to be good nonetheless and may even hum a few bars for us.
There you go. And this theme, the theme of our show today, we're looking at how things blend together, whether it's in the workplace and leadership and our personal efforts to achieve our goals. Throughout this segment, we're going to touch on that theme. In segment one, we've got Street Noise, obviously, with Stephen Thomas from reportsonhousing.com. Going into segment two, we're bringing Pops on air. We're bringing his dad, the president of the National Association of Realtors, and he's going to share with us his vision for NAR in 2013 moving forward.
And Nelson, I have talked with Gary, and he knows his stuff.
He does know his stuff. And then a very interesting interview with Ron Quintero, the founder and CEO of the Real Estate Radio Network. He's going to be sharing with us just the importance of having your estate plan in place and working with estate planning attorneys so that your house is in order if something comes up.
And he's going to kick it off, Nelson, with a very powerful story, so you want to stay tuned for that as well.
And then we have in the coach's corner, John Ireland.
Johnny I.
Johnny I, the voice of the Lakers, is going to come on, and he's going to talk about chemistry, or perhaps lack thereof, with the Los Angeles Lakers. It'll be interesting to get his insights. And then, of course, rounding out our program with the Stump the Experts. A few questions from our listeners from the past shows that you and I'm going to stump you. I know it's going to happen.
Not a chance.
This week.
Not a chance.
Let's get to Stephen Thomas. And Stephen, welcome to the show. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So a couple of headlines that we wanted to flash past you, get your thoughts. Out of Forbes, home prices growing as fast as before the housing collapse.
Yeah,
Are we at risk?
No, I actually think we overshot the bottom. When you look at a lot of the different charts and the curves, we really did fall pretty heavily, especially here in Southern California, Florida, other areas. We came down about 40% in value. That was a bit too far. Now we're correcting.
So you think that the drop in values was an overcorrection?
Yeah, well, that's why there's so many sellers are sitting on the sidelines just waiting for equity to reestablish in their homes. We always talk about short sales. We've talked about in this program before, talk about the number of distressed people underwater. There's only 15% in all of Orange County alone that is upside down. That's 15%. That means 85% is not.
Hey, Steve, comment on this one. So Southern California Public Radio stated this: why housing prices are up in Southern California and what it means to you. What does it mean to the listeners?
Well, it means that we're going the right direction. And you can see a little giddy up in everybody's step. And we'll get to some of the other articles that we've seen recently on. There's giddy up in everybody's step, including in the real estate industry. Everybody's a little bit happier. We could use a little more inventory. I'm sure everybody would agree out there in real estate land and a lot of buyers out there. But nonetheless, we're going the right direction. And it's a good place to be right now. Everybody wants to be a part of real estate.
Well, let me follow up with this one then. On the KCM blog, it said, Should your buyers increase their offers because of this trend? What do you think?
If they want to play, they need to do that. We're trending up, and if you can get in now, you might want to pay a little bit extra, because a year from now you're going to be looking back and going, boy, I wish I would have paid a little bit extra. Or you could just sit on the sideline, watch the whole entire thing unfold and take place, and continue to rent, which we had that in the last time we were spiking up. And we're spiking up right now, like I said before, because we overshot the bottom. So that's why there's a big surge right now.
Hang in there. I have a follow-up question on that, but I wanted to remind our listeners, with questions that come up, give us a shout direct. You can reach us in 3 different ways. You can call us direct, 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136. On the web at nelsonradio.com. And Stephen, people can text my name, Nelson, to 313131 and get a hold of me direct. So 3 different gateways. I wanted to ask you, with your analysis that you're doing with reportsonhousing.com, this economic recovery, the real estate piece of it is critical. And I think most people don't realize that all the other business sectors that benefit when we have a positive real estate.
Yeah, when we have positive real estate, I was talking about it a few years ago, that as soon as we get the real estate market to come back, that's what's going to pull the rest of the economy out of the drudgery that we were all dealing with for such a long time. And sure enough, it's happening. We're seeing employment numbers are starting to look better, especially in the month of February. I think we added 240,000 jobs across the United States. Unemployment's dropping. Here in Orange County, it looks very favorable for the next year. We're sitting in a really good spot right now, and it's going to pull up the rest of the economy. We're seeing Home Depot, Lowe's, their stocks going nuts because everybody's now planting plants, flowers. They're remodeling. They're rehabbing their houses. Everybody's got a little bit more juice in their step.
The construction sector is picking up.
Yes, it's across the board, and it's pulling everybody. I've heard that these builders can't even find enough people to help them build their homes because they all went out and found other jobs. So it's positive momentum, and we're going to continue to build from that.
It's nice to see the economy and everything that goes with it turn around, Steve.
Absolutely.
Well, and you mentioned jobs. Get this. Forbes has just published this past week the happiest and unhappiest jobs in America. You're thinking it's law practice.
I'm thinking it's Nelson Radio.
Oh, I would guess no other. They cited number 1, the happiest jobs in America are actually coming from the real estate professional segment, real estate agents, and they say for the reasons of the work environment. Obviously, homes are selling very quickly right now. Job resources, compensation, growth opportunities. I mean, it's a lot of positive reasons that people should be involved in real estate.
Yeah, it is one of it's the career that is very fulfilling, because you have happy buyers now. You have happy sellers as well. When a buyer finally is handed the keys, they're happy. So in turn, real estate agents are really happy. They're upbeat. Of course, they can use a lot more inventory, and that does not mean that, hey, come on over to real estate land, that you're going to be making a lot of money. It is hard work, that's for sure. I've seen them all. That they have to work really hard to do what they're doing, but they're really enjoying it right now.
Well, and it seems like the buyers out there are just so plentiful. I mean, this morning, ironically, getting ready to come to the show, there's a flyer outside of my door saying, hey, you know what, I'm looking to move, I'm looking for a new house. I hope it wasn't from my wife.
I thought I'm looking for a new husband.
I figured I'd beat you to the punch. But are you seeing a lot more of that, or is it just my house?
Well, I've been asked that from many different agents. How do I find a place for my buyer? Well, start knocking on doors, note cards to homeowners. Do whatever you can.
Yeah, my buddy just sold his house. I said, why did you move? And he said, same sort of thing. I got a letter like this. They made a price. I said, I had to move. The price was so good.
So Stephen Thomas, reportsonhousing.com. Thanks for being with us and giving us those insights. This segment of Street Noise brought to you by Title 365. They're innovators in bringing technology to the real estate sector with up-to-the-moment information and transaction status on your iPads, your iPhones, your everything. They're fabulous in terms of communicating what's taking place. Or to reach us direct, you can call us 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136. We're going to be looking at chemistry and how that impacts us later in the show with our LA Lakers announcer, John Ireland. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Well, with that chemistry, I'm going to ask Steve one more question. Steve, I want you to answer this one question. We got your dad, Gary, coming up on the show. Should listeners stay tuned?
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
There you have it. We'll be right back.
Waiting for
Everyone loves a good mystery, but that's hardly the case when you're in a real estate transaction. With Title365.com, the mystery behind title insurance and escrow services has been kicked to the curb. You gain instant access to status and downloadable documents. Want customized real-time order information and documents as they happen 24/7, 365? No problem. And for the first time, Title365 is bringing together leading professionals working on your real estate transaction, so the process is even more transparent and efficient thanks to up-to-the-minute communication. You can even retrieve contact information for leading professionals offering real estate and home-related services right in your own community and learn more about title insurance all in one convenient place. Be sure to ask your local realtor, lender, or escrow officer about Title 365 or visit Title365.com. Mystery solved.
The Nelson Show is brought to you by Best Chauffeured. Best Chauffeured offers personal chauffeur services for corporate events, large and small, and all types of people, not just celebrities. So next time you just want to relax and enjoy the ride, please call on Best Chauffeured Worldwide. It's effortless transportation and first-class service every time. Call 866-323-BEST. That's 866-323-BEST or online at bestchauffeured.com. Mention KTLK's Nelson Show and receive a special discount. 866-323-BEST or online at bestchauffeured.com.
Insurance Incorporated are the residential and apartment insurance experts. Unlike agencies that represent one carrier and can only provide one quote, Insurance Incorporated has appointments with the nation's leading insurance carriers, giving you the power of choice. This means more options and savings for you, offering coverage that's both comprehensive and affordable. Their policies for apartments include protection against loss or rents, accusation of wrongful eviction and wrongful entry, vandalism, theft, and slip and fall claims. Show your value as a property manager by being proactive, saving your clients money and protecting their assets. They can even assist your tenants with renter's insurance. And homeowners, they can save you up to 40% on premiums, including often overlooked liability coverage. Insurance Incorporated are the residential and apartment insurance experts. Call 877-428-8778. That's 877-428-8778 and enjoy better coverage at lower costs. That's Insurance Incorporated, 877-428-8778 or log on to insuranceinc.com.
DOI license 023531.
Welcome back to Nelson Radio. I'm with my guest host, Mike Fell, known by OC Metro Magazine and Avo.com as one of the top criminal defense attorneys in Orange County. This segment presented by Best Chauffeured, worry-free and on-time limousine transportation services worldwide. If you need a limo, all you need to do is text the word limo to 313131, and we're also inviting your comments. Give us a call direct. You can reach us at 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136, or connect with us on the web at nelsonradio.com. And Mike, I'm excited to bring onto our show a very prominent figure in the real estate sector. We've got the president of the National Association of Realtors, Gary Thomas, with us. Gary is leading the charge for a trade group that's about 1 million members.
Fantastic. I figured I'd wait for you to take a breath, and then I'd say, it's great to be here, Nelson. And
that was all one breath.
I can see that. Matter of fact, you're blue in the face for the listeners that can't see you.
I was looking for a landing spot.
And not only am I excited to have Gary on the show, but there is a chance that his offspring, Steve Thomas, may be on our show today as well.
And he's coming on our show as well. And we're broadcasting, obviously, from the Lion Air Museum, an incredible tribute to the aviation, the military aviation of World War II and the Korean Wars, sitting in front of the B-17 fuddy-duddy. You still want to get up in air on that.
And I'm sitting next to the fuddy-duddy, so it works out perfectly. And I'm not talking about Gary Thomas.
Yeah, and you know he's still here.
I do.
Yeah, he's waiting.
Gary, hey, it's great to have you on the show. I got to start out by saying you are so much better looking than your son.
Thank you.
I'm sure you hear that all the time. Hey, but let's talk about the real estate industry for a little bit. And as a lawyer, I'm taking a look at some of these purchase agreements. And when I bought my first house, it seemed like a handshake and a one-page document that I signed. These days, to buy a house, it's almost like you're going through the dictionary. So tell me about what's changed And don't bag on my people too much. That's attorneys, that is. And tell me why we have a plethora, phone book now that we have to sign as opposed to that one pager, and what the benefits and the detriments are to that.
Well, it is because of your profession that we have that. so you can acknowledge it.
All right, and we can bill for it too.
That's right, and you do very well at that.
Well, thank you.
No, really over the years, we've had court decisions that have prompted different things that we've had to put into the documentation. We have a transfer disclosure statement. That's something in law now. And so there's lots of things all along that have been added into the contract. When I started, you free-form wrote the contract out. There wasn't anything pre-printed. Now, most every agent uses what's called WinForms. It's a form of doing the contracts online.
But let me back up the attorneys for a second. Don't you feel that both the buyers and the sellers are now more protected based upon these additional advisement, disclaimers, et cetera, that are in the forms?
If they read it, yes. But as you acknowledged, it's so thick, and especially when you get down to the loan documents. I don't know any borrower that reads all the way through all of those loan documents. If they did, it would take them about a week.
I used to have an escrow officer. She would say at signing of loan documents, you've got 30 minutes to sign, 30 years to read the documents.
Right.
I think that's how we got in trouble in the mortgage business.
Yeah. I think I did that with my marriage contract too.
So let me steer the direction of this question towards what we're dealing with in the real estate market, I think, across the nation, and that's the downturn in inventory. You have, obviously, a vibrant marketplace. People want to buy, not enough homes. Is there any dialogue about that with the National Association of Realtors?
Well, there is, but there's not much we can do to try and stimulate people to put their houses on the market. Part of it is because many people are still underwater, and so as the prices continue to rise, that'll bring more people out of they will have equity left, and so then they can begin to sell. And I think that you're going to start seeing that happen. So the regular sellers are starting to come on, and there are more of them coming on the market now, but there's much fewer distressed sales on the market. So that's really what's caused the shortage.
Now, Gary, I've noticed not only with the practice of law, but basically with all businesses, the internet has taken over. You've got your iPads, you've got your internet, you've got your different, as Rob talked about, your avo.coms, ways to get out there and find your professionals. How has the NAR embraced technology in its field?
Well, we've done a lot of things. First of all, we started Realtor.com back when it was unheard of to have real estate listings online. And so that was the very first venture into showing it to the public. And so we've been involved in it practically from the beginning of the internet.
Wonderful, wonderful.
You're listening to Nelson Radio, presented by Best Chauffeured, worry-free and on-time limousine services. If you need a limo, text the word limo to 313131, and you can always contact us direct at 888-888-2136 with questions. Something I wanted to ask you, Gary, is about the future and how the NAR is planning for the next generation.
Well, one of the things that we have is we have what's called a YPN network, and that's a Young Professional Network. And so we're building the youth into the organization so that they can let us know what works best for them and their generation. We also have a strategic planning committee, which for last year, this year, and for next year is being headed up by one of those YPNs. And so we're trying to get as much information as we can so that we can make sure that we're meeting those needs of the next generation.
And Nelson, I wanted to point out for our listeners that when he talked about young professionals, he was looking directly at me and not at you. I want to make that very clear.
Yeah, no, I fell asleep.
I think you're in the OPN, Old People's Network.
So quickly, we wanted to round out with your vision now with leading the charge and coming into the National Association of Realtors as the president. A question that I frame out in terms of what you would start, stop, and keep doing.
Well, there's not much that I would stop doing that the National Association does because we review it all the time. One of the things that we do very well, and we're actually increasing that, and that's our advocacy. We have it not only at the local level, the state level, but of course at the national level. And we do a great job of that, and we're starting to bring in the consumer into that by directly contacting them and asking them then to get onto our issues.
Now, when you're talking about advocacy, obviously you and I think differently about advocacy. I'm thinking about being in court. What kind of advocacy can you help your members out with?
Well, if there was let's say there was a zoning problem in one of the communities and they wanted to pass something that would not be in the best interest of property owners, then we get in there and try and fight to have that turned down. Same thing at the state level, same thing at the federal level. Right now we're doing an awful lot on the mortgage interest deduction, as well as trying to make sure that we have a very good lending system going forward.
And this is a hot topic we're going to discuss about moving forward. The mortgage interest deduction threatened, I think, of being taken away. Gary, thanks for being with us. I really appreciate it. This is Nelson. I'm with my guest host, Mike Fell, from the law office of Micheal L. Fell, presented by Best Chauffeured, worry-free and on-time limousine services. We want you to give us a call, 888-888-2136, and get ready with our next segment. We have the founder and CEO of our radio network, Ron Quintero,
This
coming
is when
up.
we have to be on our best behavior, Nelson.
And like Gary, he's dedicated his entire media platform to rebuilding the real estate sector after the Great Recession.
Stay tuned, because he has got an amazing story that I'm going to go through with him, and the listeners do not want to miss that.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
The Nelson Show is brought to you by Best Chauffeured. Best Chauffeured offers personal chauffeur services for corporate events, large and small, and all types of people, not just celebrities. So next time you just want to relax and enjoy the ride, please call on Best Chauffeured Worldwide. It's effortless transportation and first-class service every time. Call 866-323-BEST. That's 866-323-BEST, or online at bestchauffeured.com. Mention KTLK's Nelson Show and receive a special discount. 866-323-BEST, or online at bestchauffeured.com.
Insurance Incorporated are the residential and apartment insurance experts. Unlike agencies that represent one carrier and can only provide one quote, Insurance Incorporated has appointments with the nation's leading insurance carriers, giving you the power of choice. This means more options and savings for you, offering coverage that's both comprehensive and affordable. Their policies for apartments include protection against loss or rents, accusation of wrongful eviction and wrongful entry, vandalism, theft, and slip and fall claims. Show your value as a property manager by being proactive, saving your clients' money and protecting their assets. They can even assist your tenants with renter's insurance. And homeowners, they can save you up to 40% on premiums, including often overlooked liability coverage. Insurance Incorporated are the residential and apartment insurance experts. Call 877-428-8778. That's 877-428-8778, and enjoy better coverage at lower cost. That's Insurance Incorporated, 877-428-8778, or log on to insuranceinc.com.
DOI license number 0235301.
Everyone loves a good mystery, but that's hardly the case when you're in a real estate transaction. With Title365.com, the mystery behind title insurance and escrow services has been kicked to the curb. You gain instant access to status and downloadable documents. Want customized real-time order information and documents as they happen 24/7, 365? No problem. And for the first time, Title365 is bringing together leading professionals working on your real estate transaction, so the process is even more transparent and efficient thanks to up-to-the-minute communication. You can even retrieve contact information for leading professionals offering real estate and home-related services right in your own community, and learn more about title insurance all in one convenient place. Be sure to ask your local realtor, lender, or escrow officer about Title365, or visit Title365.com. Mystery solved.
This is Nelson from Nelson Real Estate Radio, and I want to have a very serious conversation. Let me paint the word picture. The drinks were innocent enough, just relaxing with friends. Really, I felt fine. Then the rearview mirror lights up with the blue and red. The arrest, cuffed, and in jail. Really? Me? All too frequent, we wish in the somehow, someway category for a do-over, a mulligan to make a different decision. Let me introduce Orange County to the law office of Micheal L. Fell. Nearly 2 decades serving in the Orange County District Attorney's Office as a prosecutor, now fighting for your rights in criminal defense. Recognized as one of Orange County's top 5 criminal defense attorneys, ready to represent you against his former colleagues. Save the embarrassment, the potential conviction and record, the possible loss of job. Call Mike Fell direct for your legal mulligan, a chance to make it right. 949-585-9055. That's 949-585-9055, or text the letters OCDUI to 313131 for the law office of Michael L. Fell. Welcome back to Nelson Radio. I'm with my special guest host, Mike Fell, known by OC Metro as one of the top, Orange County's top criminal defense and victim rights attorneys. How you doing, Mike? You glad to be here?
I'm doing well. I'm glad you got through that bit.
I know it. I'm sweating. I'm nervous. I don't know what to do.
We can all see that.
This segment brought to you by where we're broadcasting from, Lion Air Museum. If you haven't been down here on the west side of Orange County's John Wayne Airport, we have this military tribute to aviation covering World War II vintage planes through the Korean War, and unbelievable. We've got a B-17 fuddy-duddy, the fuddy-duddy, right in front of us, a fabulous plane. All these planes, Mike, are still exercised regularly. They're taken out every 4 to 5 months and flown around, and it's unbelievable.
Now, this is, if you haven't been here, you definitely need to take your kids down here or come yourself. It's not only these airplanes amazing to look at on the outside, but they actually have some of them opened up so you can actually peer inside. And boy, I did that before the show. It was pretty cool.
Throughout the show, if you have comments or questions, we want you to give us a call. You can reach us direct, 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136. And I'm excited to bring our next guest on, the founder and CEO of Real Estate Radio Network, Ron Quintero, and an absolute dedication in his media group to rebuilding our real estate sector across the country. Ron, welcome to the program.
Thanks a lot for having me on.
So, Ron, before the break, I really promoted you with this story, so I hope it's going to come out good and not put our readers to sleep. So the pressure's on you.
Well, Nelson and I were talking about this this morning, getting prepared for the show, and I said I'd like to be able to share a story with your listeners that came from Dallas, Texas. One of our radio show hosts over there, Cole Holmes, and he had in studio with him a young man that was 34 years old, and he told the story. And in addition to having this young man who's not a professional, he's not a realtor, he's not a lender or anything like that. Actually, he works in the software business. And he told the story of getting married at 26 and losing his wife to cancer at age 29, and at her passing, having a 1 and 2-year-old. And they turned to the church for grievance counseling and so forth, and there he met his next wife and ended up getting remarried about a year and a half later. They decided they wanted to have a child. And one day, she's driving her car, and he gets a phone call. And he answers the phone, and she's screaming, "I can't stop the car, I can't stop the car."
Right over the phone?
Right over the phone. And he's saying, "Honey, slow down, calm down, what's going on?" "The gas pedal is stuck, and it's going faster and faster. I'm losing control of the car." And he was on the phone with her, trying to coach her to try different things, and all of a sudden, while she's on the phone, killed. Plowed in the back of a car. And sitting in the studio with this person while he's telling the story is the estate planning attorney that his lender introduced him to, that said, you need an estate plan and you need life insurance, equivalent to being able to pay off your mortgage on you and your wife. God forbid should anything happen. And he talks about his girls that were now 4 and 3 and just losing their second mommy. You know, and not to mention his wife was 6 months pregnant with his son that he never got to hold. And that story is so relevant because anyone that's listening to the show right now, if you own real estate, you need an estate plan. You need an estate planner in your life. You need the proper professionals to surround you and protect your family and to protect your assets. And I'm amazed by how many people I talk to that own real estate that don't have that done. And he openly on air basically said, "Cole, I'm so glad I ran into you, a lender that is that compassionate and cares about your clients so much that you forced that meeting.
Right.
You forced me to have that meeting." So that's the story.
Yeah, you know what? That's a very powerful story, Ron. And you know what? Sometimes in life, the tragedies actually open our eyes to calls to action. And who would have thought at that age it would have been wise to talk to a real estate planner. And that's, again, a very sad but a very eye-opening story. Thank you for sharing that.
You're more than welcome. It's hard for me to even tell it sometimes. I get choked up saying it.
Yeah,
so it's
right.
it's
powerful emotion.
I had the opportunity to meet the gentleman that told the story, and when I flew to Dallas a few weeks ago and met him face to face, and I cracked a tear when I met him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And these kind of calls to actions, we can respond proactively. You're listening to Nelson Radio, and with that kind of a story, we're extending the invitation. Do call in. Reach out to Mike and I. We'll put you in touch with whomever, whatever professional sector can help you be proactive in your planning. You can reach us direct at 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136. Or you can go directly to nelsonradio.com.
Hey, Ron, let me ask you a question about estate planning attorneys. Around the country, what other estate planning attorneys, what are they sharing with their clients, to your knowledge?
Well, we have an estate planning attorney out of Dallas, Texas again. He is very successful with his segment, which is titled The 5 Documents You Should Not Live or Die Without. And a lot of people are not aware of that. And by the way, if you're listening to the show right now and you don't know what those 5 documents are, you probably should sit down and meet with an estate planning attorney to make sure you cover your assets.
Very good. I want to know about those 5 when we get off the radio.
Well,
I'm not the attorney here. You're the attorney. You better be able to tell me. For an exploratory, no obligation consultation. Rob, give your phone number again.
No, so you do need to call and find out about this. 888-888-2136. But that's just it. I mean, to make these kinds of plans in advance, and instead of scurrying and releasing all of your control to members outside your family.
Yeah, like I told you about the 5 docs. I can tell you about the 5 Ps also.
Right.
Proper planning prevents poor performance.
No, we've heard that one. It's good advice to live by. And just real quick, Ron, I think what a lot of people are thinking as you're talking about this is, how much is it going to cost me? And the question for you is the cost such that it's prohibitive, and does it outweigh the cost that you might be looking at if you don't do it?
You know, I sold real estate for 32 years, and the 4th year into my career, I was introduced to an estate planning attorney who made me understand the importance of this. And since then, I've introduced every one of my clients to an estate planning law firm. What's important to understand is some of the people that are listening right now may be living hand to mouth, or maybe they owe more on their home than what it's worth, and maybe they feel like, I don't have anything worth protecting. It's baby steps, and it starts even if you have a minimal investment. You should also always seek out legal counsel and get an update every 2 or 3 years and see if your plan's still on track. If you've refinanced, a lot of people, even people that have an estate plan, they don't realize that they've exposed themselves by maybe refinancing and not putting the loan documents or the property back into the trust or in and out. I don't know the procedures associated with that, and I don't claim to be an attorney, which is all the more reason why we need good attorneys affiliated with our network. And I'm very proud that we have right now 18 estate planning attorneys affiliated with our network nationwide.
Wonderful. And you know what? You need to talk to that profession. So when we joke around an attorney is an attorney, that's just not true. Exactly what Ron said. If you're going to talk to an attorney, obviously it's not a criminal attorney that's going to help you with this one. It's going to the estate planning attorney who knows exactly what they're doing.
No, and you asked me about the investment, the cost. So some people may be listening to the show right now going, how much is this? How much is this? It depends upon the complexity of your estate. And it may start out small, and it may gradually pick up over time. And I hope that it becomes very expensive, because I hope that means that they have a large estate.
Right.
Yeah, there you go.
No, that's a good suggestion.
We're with Ron Quintero, the founder and CEO of the Real Estate Radio Network, broadcasting our real estate recovery across the country. Thanks for being with us. I'm Nelson. I'm with my guest host, Mike Fell, from the law office of Micheal L. Fell. This segment presented by our newest sponsor, Lion Air Museum, where we're broadcasting from today, in a fabulous tribute to the military aviation and the military pilots, these 18-year-old kids that were sent in to pilot these planes and commander these squadrons across hostile territory.
Yeah,
it's
amazing,
a great story.
And you know, if our producer isn't totally on track, you might be able to hear some of the airplanes flying by.
Exactly. Contact is direct. 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136. Turn up that volume. Stay with us. We're moving into Coach's Corner with our nationally recognized commentator, John Ireland from the LA Lakers.
And I got to say something. This is going to be a phenomenal episode. Get ready to laugh with this one a little bit, too, because John is a great guy. So stay tuned, please.
Insurance Incorporated are the residential and apartment insurance experts. Unlike agencies that represent one carrier and can only provide one quote, Insurance Incorporated has appointments with the nation's leading insurance carriers, giving you the power of choice. This means more options and savings for you, offering coverage that's both comprehensive and affordable. Their policies for apartments include protection against loss or rents, accusation of wrongful eviction and wrongful entry, vandalism, theft, and slip and fall claims. Show your value as a property manager by being proactive, saving your clients money and protecting their assets. They can even assist your tenants with renter's insurance. And homeowners, they can save you up to 40% on premiums, including often overlooked liability coverage. Insurance Incorporated are the residential and apartment insurance experts. Call 877-428-8778. That's 877-428-8778 and enjoy better coverage at lower costs. That's Insurance Incorporated, 877-428-8778 or log on to insuranceinc.com.
DOI license 0235301.
Everyone loves a good mystery, but that's hardly the case when you're in a real estate transaction. With Title365.com, the mystery behind title insurance and escrow services has been kicked to the curb. You gain instant access to status and downloadable documents. Want customized real-time order information and documents as they happen 24/7, 365? No problem. And for the first time, Title365 is bringing together leading professionals working on your real estate transaction, so the process is even more transparent and efficient thanks to up-to-the-minute communication. You can even retrieve contact information for leading professionals offering real estate and home-related services right in your own community and learn more about title insurance all in one convenient place. Be sure to ask your local realtor, lender, or escrow officer about Title365 or visit Title365.com. Mystery solved.
The Nelson Show is brought to you by Best Chauffeured. Best Chauffeured offers personal chauffeur services for corporate events, large and small, and all types of people, not just celebrities. So next time you just want to relax and enjoy the ride, please call on Best Chauffeured Worldwide. It's effortless transportation and first-class service every time. Call 866-323-BEST. That's 866-323-BEST or online at bestchauffeured.com. Mention KTLK's Nelson Show and receive a special discount. 866-323-BEST or online at bestchauffeured.com.
We're heading into Coach's Corner, and I'm excited that we have a very well-known voice out there, the commentator of the Los Angeles Lakers, also a broadcaster with ESPN. Radio has a number of programs that are broadcast syndicated nationally. We've got John Ireland joining us. This segment brought to you by my co-host, Mike Fell, from the law office of Micheal L. Fell. With any questions, I want you to give us a call direct. 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136, or go directly to the web, nelsonradio.com. The segment that we have coming up with John was actually recorded earlier in the week, so the voice quality is going to be a little bit different, but he's going to share with you some great insights on what he gets to experience on the hardwood at Staples Center every week.
We're excited to be with renowned ESPN sports announcer and the voice of the Los Angeles Lakers, John Ireland. Thanks for being with us.
Guys, I'm happy to be with you, and the fact that there is any type of world where Mike Fell and John Ireland each have a radio show would not surprise anybody from Corona Del Mar in 1980. We used to do exactly this in Fell's car, except the only difference was nobody else listened to it.
Well, we're not going to talk about what happened in Fell's car, Mr. Ireland.
Thank goodness for you.
Well, hey, Johnny, our show today is about chemistry, and not the chemistry class of Mr. Vossos that you and I both flunked, but the chemistry of people working in business, the people in athletic teams working together. And obviously, we got to ask you about the Lakers a little bit. I mean, the hugest talent out there on the hardwood, but struggling to make the playoffs. What do you have to say about the chemistry that's going on?
Well, this is an interesting topic. We were talking about this on our show about 2 weeks ago, and I think the mistake people make when they talk about chemistry is they assume if a team or a business is losing, that it might be a chemistry issue, like the personalities don't mix. I've always subscribed to the theory that there's work chemistry and there's personal chemistry. You can have a really good working relationship with somebody that you would never want in your family. That to be honest, that you could have a really good working relationship with somebody you don't even like personally. But as long as you have a working relationship that kind of meshes, it works. The best example of that, guys, is when the Lakers won back-to-back-to-back titles from 2000 through 2002. Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant were not friends. As a matter of fact, any of us who traveled with that team would tell you that they didn't like each other, and we all knew it. The difference was when they got into the office, for lack of a better term, their chemistry on the court was excellent. Their chemistry off the court was terrible, and I think people fail to realize that there's a difference. I think the reason this team has underachieved has more to do with injuries than it has to do with chemistry. I think they've gone 22-11 in their last 33 games, so they've figured some things out. But at the beginning of the year, they had a coach who couldn't really figure out how to use the parts together.
Right.
They hired the coach 5 games into the season, and it took a while for them to figure out how to play together. I think they've done that now, and we'll see how this ends.
You're with Nelson Radio. I'm with my special guest host, Mike Fell, and we have on the Coach's Corner, Los Angeles Lakers voice, John Ireland. Coach's Corner brought to you by Title 365. We want you to reach out to us with your questions and comments. Give us a shout at 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136, or jump on the web at nelsonradio.com.
Now, hey, John, let me ask, and we're back with John Ireland. So, hey, John, you and Coach D'Antoni have a lot in common. I mean, as you recall in high school, every girl that you dated would chant, "We want Mike," and D'Antoni has the reaction of fans chanting, "We want Phil." So, being that you were in that position before, brother, tell me, what's that doing to the chemistry at all?
Sadly, that story is true. But in terms of the Lakers, D'Antoni's a pretty self-deprecating guy. I think if he was online with the three of us right now and you asked him, did the "We want Phil" chants bother you? He would laugh and say, no. I mean, who doesn't want Phil? He's got 11 rings. I don't have any. So if you're being compared to Phil Jackson, you're not going to win that comparison, and D'Antoni is smart enough to know that. But, guys, in sports, everything gets decided by whether or not you win. Winning a race is a lot. And D'Antoni would be the first to tell you, and I think the players all know it, that if the Lakers flame out, if they were to miss the playoffs altogether, or if they were to make the playoffs and get swept, D'Antoni is probably one of several changes that could happen anyway. Everybody knows that if you play or work for the Lakers, that the bar is championship or bust. And Phil was able to bring championships. D'Antoni hasn't done that yet. So, Mike, I would argue that it's not a chemistry issue that couldn't be solved by winning. Everybody knows that when you sign your contract with the Lakers, if the team loses, then all bets are off. I was with the Lakers in Denver in 2009 when they beat the Nuggets to go to the NBA Finals. That was the year they met the Orlando Magic in the finals and won the first of the Kobe Powell championships.
Right.
And there was a trophy ceremony arranged in a room inside the Pepsi Center in Denver. And they had James Worthy, the Laker Hall of Famer, present the championship trophy to the Lakers. And Worthy is standing there, and it's on TNT, and he says, Phil Jackson, congratulations. You've won the Western Conference Championship. You're on your way to the NBA Finals. And I hear I'm standing in the background, and I hear all the guys from TNT screaming at Worthy, kind of in a whisper, hand him the trophy. You got to hand him the trophy. We need that shot for TV. Hand him the trophy. And Worthy just ignored him. And after the ceremony was over, he never handed the trophy, so the cameraman never got his shot. And after the ceremony was over, all the Lakers walked out of the room, and they left the trophy sitting there. And the TNT guys walked up to the Lakers and went, guys, you killed us. You never held up the trophy, and here, it's all yours. And the Lakers said, we ain't touching that thing, man. It's not the one we want.
Yeah.
And that's how they think. So for Mike D'Antoni to hear "we want Phil," he knows that that's nothing compared to what the higher standard is, Mike, and that is win or you're fired. And anybody who takes the Laker coaching job knows that.
Yeah, well, that's good, and that story really exemplifies what they're after. Great story, John.
Hey, let me ask you. You've seen leadership demonstrated throughout the sports world, and obviously chemistry is a component of that. Is there a common denominator?
Yeah, and it's a really good question. And it's the answer is going to sound simple, but it's harder than it sounds. If you're running an organization, whether it be a basketball team, a restaurant, a store, a law firm, you name it, if you're willing to hire really good people and then get out of the way, that's a road to success. Most businesses that fail are either micromanaged or the managers screw it up. In the case of the Lakers, what I learned from watching Phil Jackson is that he would work with the players in practice to prepare them for any situation. And John Wooden, the legendary UCLA coach, was like this too. If you notice those two guys during games, they would literally sit on the bench with their legs crossed and not call timeout. The Lakers could have a 15-point lead, and you'd see the lead go to 10, 5, 4, 3, 2. No timeout. And I asked Phil once, I said, you guys were getting killed. The game was falling apart. You let a 15-point lead dwindle to 2. Why? And he would say, because sooner or later they have to figure it out for themselves.
Hey, John, thanks again. It's always great to chat with you, my friend.
Hey, John, that's just great material. Thanks for being with us. And I want to share with our listeners, you can hear Mason in Ireland on ESPN Radio 12 to 3 every day, and also the voice of the Lakers, one of the icons of sports broadcasting, and just a fabulous guest in our Coach's Corner.
All right, boys, have a great show. Thanks for having me on.
You bet.
Thanks, John.
John, thanks for being with us. This is Nelson. I'm with guest host Mike Fell, and we want you to contact us direct. 888-888-2136. You can reach us direct. 888-888-2136. Or to reach Mike, you can text the word OCDUI, the letters OCDUI, to 313131, and he'll be able to respond immediately. We're moving into Stump the Experts. Coming right back. Stay with us. This is Nelson from Nelson Real Estate Radio, and I want to have a very serious conversation. Let me paint the word picture. The drinks were innocent enough, just relaxing with friends. Really, I felt fine. Then the rearview mirror lights up with the blue and red. The arrest, cuffed, and in jail. Really? Me? All too frequent, we wish in the somehow, someway category for a do-over, a mulligan to make a different decision. Let me introduce Orange County to the law office of Micheal L. Fell. Nearly 2 decades serving in the Orange County District Attorney's Office as a prosecutor, now fighting for your rights in criminal defense. Recognized as one of Orange County's top 5 criminal defense attorneys, ready to represent you against his former colleagues. Save the embarrassment, the potential conviction and record, the possible loss of job. Call Mike Fell direct for your legal mulligan, a chance to make it right. 949-585-9055. That's 949-585-9055, or text the letters OCDUI to 313131 for the law office of Micheal L. Fell.
Insurance Incorporated are the residential and apartment insurance experts. Unlike agencies that represent one carrier and can only provide one quote, Insurance Incorporated has appointments with the nation's leading insurance carriers, giving you the power of choice. This means more options and savings for you, offering coverage that's both comprehensive and affordable. Their policies for apartments include protection against loss or rents, accusation of wrongful eviction and wrongful entry, vandalism, theft, and slip and fall claims. Show your value as a property manager by being proactive, saving your clients money and protecting their assets. They can even assist your tenants with renter's insurance. And homeowners, they can save you up to 40% on premiums, including often overlooked liability coverage. Insurance Incorporated are the residential and apartment insurance experts. Call 877-428-8778. That's 877-428-8778 and enjoy better coverage at lower costs. That's Insurance Incorporated, 877-428-8778, or log on to insuranceinc.com.
DOI license 0235301.
Welcome back. I'm Nelson, and I'm with my guest host, Mike Fell. We're moving into the Stump the Experts. This segment brought to you by, ironically, My Mortgage Services, bringing accountability to the lending industry. Is there such a thing, Mike?
I hope so.
There is. We have our close-on-time guarantees, and I'm putting my 3 decades of mortgage experience behind that. Any questions throughout this show or for home buyers, give us a call direct. 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136. And this is a question to open up the Stump the Expert segment. This question actually came up when you were hosting here a couple of weeks ago. And I wanted to ask you this. It says, Mike, from your, he said, Mike, I'm a practicing attorney, not a criminal defense attorney, was charged with a DUI. Why shouldn't I represent myself versus incurring criminal defense expenses?
Well, there's the old adage that he who represents himself has a fool for a client. So that's kind of an old adage that we use to get clients. No, it's very important to, of course he can, or she can. You can always represent yourself. Matter of fact, you don't have to be a lawyer. You can always represent yourself. The problem that you face with this listener was, number one, if they're an attorney, they have to be concerned about what may happen with the state bar. Now, as a rule of thumb, a standard first-time DUI is not going to get you in trouble, or you're not going to have a problem with the state bar. But it also depends upon the circumstance of that DUI. So it's always good to either consult with someone that actually practices this type of law for a living and to get an idea of what's out there. There's also avenues that have to be navigated through the DMV. There's the APS, which is the administrative per se. There's a mandatory action unit. Those are all parts of the DMV that have to be, if you will, looked into to make sure that your license isn't either suspended or double suspended. And then, of course, there's the court action of having a conviction for a DUI or possibly something less. And as we've talked about before, we've had a multiple segment show on that, and we'll continue to do that. But definitely it's best to at least get some consultation.
That to me just seems common sense. I mean, to represent yourself, okay, you have that legal training, but you don't have that background. You're maybe not fluent in all of the facets where you could easily overlook something and then after the fact be going, oh, what did I get myself into?
I'll go a step farther. I've, as a district attorney, I had people that represented their loved ones on the defense side, and I've had to say to them, hey, listen, you can continue on this case, but I'm going to tell you right now, this is not good for your client. You're so emotionally impacted in this, you cannot represent your client properly, and that's the same if you're your own client. So, Rob, let me ask you a question that we got. It says, how can I get an idea of what I can afford without actually applying for a mortgage or sitting down with a mortgage lender?
I think it drafts off really the same counsel. You can speak with the agent community, you can speak with friends and family, but in today's world, you got to get it right. And especially where there's such an influence of cash buyers, investors that are coming in and just writing checks for real estate, it almost underscores the importance more of turning to your bank or mortgage lender to get everything in order and bulletproof so that your offer will even be accepted.
All right, we have time for one more?
Let's go.
All right. So I had someone that asked about fiscal fitness. So I'm going to add in here and say, tell me the difference between fiscal fitness and physical fitness.
Well, obviously I can speak to one, you know the lack of the other, but fiscal fitness.
I'd set you up for that one.
Oh, you did. The fiscal fitness, what we're discovering is we go through these seminar series speaking to different professional groups. Today as our guest, we have the estate planning attorneys, and it's absolutely critical that you do seek out professional counsel. Bottom line, trying to be an expert in all things and go it alone in this world and how complicated things are, I think it's just a foolish decision.
Good advice, Rob. Good advice.
You're listening to Nelson Radio. I'm with guest host Mike Fell in our Stump the Expert segment. This segment brought to you by Professional Mortgage Services. Finally, we've got accountability being re-injected back into the lending industry. If you have questions, give us a shout direct. 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136. And as we close out the show, there's a couple organizations that I want to draw attention to. First, we work with Treasures of Africa, our orphanage down in Moshi, Tanzania. The unique thing about this organization, it's not just a relief organization. They're actually bringing up the community to be difference makers. So these young kids, ironically, want to be attorneys. I don't know why. They want to be attorneys. They want to be physicians. They want to make a difference back in their community so that they can elevate the community out of these impoverished conditions. And one story that I wanted to bring up very quickly was Little Justice. Moshi, Tanzania is almost the epicenter of the AIDS pandemic, and little Justice lost his mom to AIDS. He has been diagnosed, been diagnosed with AIDS himself, and so he's physically a little bit behind in the development, but precious kid, sweet smile, is developing in school, and we want to call out sponsorship for Little Justice. You can go to nelsonradio.com and learn more about him and click through for sponsorship to treasuresofafrica.org. But broadcasting from the Lion Air Museum, we also want to draw attention to Operation Homefront, and I introduced this to you just a while ago. This is an organization that is taking a problem in our country, the real estate owned segment, the homes that have been taken back by the lending community. They've negotiated that those homes, certain homes, can be occupied by returning veterans and war veterans. And the agreement is they stay there for 12 to 18 months. They're responsible for taxes and insurance and maintenance. And at the end of that 12 or 18-month window, the home is deeded over to them free and clear as a thank you gesture for their military service.
That's a wonderful, wonderful program.
Operation Homefront. So it's been a great show. We had the entire Thomas family, I think, right?
The Thomas family is pretty large. I don't know if we had the entire family.
Gary Thomas, the president of the National Association of Realtors, and his son, Stephen, market analyst with reportsonhousing.com, provided great insights on what we have to look forward to.
Well, and I would like to personally thank my old high school buddy, John Ireland, for being on the show and spending some time with us and telling us about the Lakers and just giving us some tips on chemistry in the workplace.
And I got to thank you, my special guest host. For any time you get into trouble with a DUI, we're calling it the legal mulligan. Get a hold of Mike at texting the letters OCDUI to 313131. He'll be able to guide you through the process. We want to thank you for listening. These are must calls you have to make. We want your opinion. We want your comments. Give us a call direct. 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136. And we appreciate Lion Air Museum for housing us for this week's show. We'll be back to you next week.
Thanks for listening.